podcast. KillerKellerOfficial.com.
You need the Kellervision app. 24/7 mini documentaries, podcasts, live shows, DJ live streams, top fives, subscription packages, plus products for all your podcasts and street culture sports. Download it from the App Store for free today.
Beatbox created.
Killer Keller.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killer Keller podcast.
Turn on, tune in, and cop out.
Yep.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Killer Keller podcast, live and direct, central London, as central as you need to be. Could be, want to be, should be.
You definitely need to be.
Hell yeah, you
Need to be, man.
The sultry voice you're hearing right now. Oh, big shout out to graffitiKings.co.uk. Big shout out to everyone's got the Kellervision app. That sultry voice you're hearing right next to me is somebody that, for a lifetime of my career, we have walked similar paths, and it's fucking exciting to have him on because his world is only blossoming here, there, and everywhere, from hip hop to drum and bass with his own solo stuff. It's Inja.
Yes, killer. Yes, my don.
What you
Happy to be here, bruv.
Hey, that was an intro, wasn't it?
Good. That was a wicked intro, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, well, literally, I mean, it's a part of the kind of running commentary before we jump on the podcast. You understand, we've got to warm up before, we're going to warm these vocal cords up. But I did turn out injured, didn't I? And I was like, you're used to that microphone. What is it about microphones that you love, Inja? What is it?
It still perplexes me, but you can speak into something and plug it in and have it plugged into a big system and your voice comes out of it. Just basic.
It's
Right.
do you think, I mean, listen, I'm only relaying it back to our years and years of, but there is a persona that you have.
Yeah.
And there's that's that Sasha Fierce that you go on stage with. There isn't a lot of difference between you and the positive energy that's on the stage and you behind the stage. That's fact. But there is something addictive about being on stage, isn't it? Regardless of what confidence you have, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, just to like backtrack, it's like even when I was a kid and people would banish me from microphones, turn off my microphones, and I went through all of that stage of my life, I still kept on coming back. So there is an addictive quality to it. There is something about it that has like an addictive nature. But then, you know, like, let's break it down. Like, so like, basically people really like it when you get one person or a group of people on side, and a microphone is a way of getting people on side, depending on what you're saying, depending on what environment you're with, and there is like self-gratification in that. Like, you can pick up a microphone, as you well know, and can control and be, not necessarily control, but be the conductor, be the influencer, be the person that can guide like a group of people in whatever way, shape or form. And yeah, it all comes down to this basic tool.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's the disciplines that come within the idea of, well, we've only got these record players, or we've only got this spray can wall, or we come from these disciplines, and it's mad that you create an art form with something so ever present in human ever since we've been born. It's been there.
Well, bruv, our voice, you know, it's the basics. It's like not many people had families that had that could get them turntables or studio equipment and all the rest of it. So for me, it was always just like the first go-to. Yeah. It's like my friends had some of that stuff, which was amazing. And I'd go around and play with them, like on, you know what I mean? Like, and have a little fun. But actually, like, the only tool that I've ever had is my voice. And that's like, you know, you take away the microphone, just voice projection within itself. That's like a big thing. And that is part of the toolkit, I suppose, for any person that uses a mic, like, especially with their vocal cords. Yeah. It's like, you know, and actually with instruments, you've got to learn, first of all, how to project that sound into the conductor that then takes it to wherever it takes it, sound systems, personal stereos, whatever. Like, but yeah.
Interesting you've gone down that road, because in conversation, these are cheap to enter things, aren't they?
Yeah.
So when you're into a cheap to enter world of grab a mic and any mic and just do it, the characteristics and vocals, like you say, and the techniques in which you do, these are the most important elements, or else you'll lose impact. It'll feel like, oh, anyone can do this, and it's just Maybe there's a lot more anyone can do this is in the world these days. But I think with drum and bass and hip hop, it's like you've really got to own your craft. With
Well,
what you
yeah,
got.
I mean, just on that subject there about owning your craft, like anyone that watched the Versus thing with the Locks versus Dipset,
Wow.
like, do you know, like that was anyone that hasn't. If you want to know how to hold a mic and run a crowd, go watch Jada and the Locks, man.
Game the fuck over.
Like, but that was pure technique and skill. That was showmanship, technique, skill, all of the years of them guys as a group being together and how they have learned how to communicate, you know, because you know from working with outfits, having your own outfits, like there is a communication bridge between everyone that's involved, and the longer it evolves, the communication bridge is so wide that actually you don't have to look at anyone. You don't even have to even be listening to what they're saying. Like, do you know what I'm saying? You don't even have to be listening to what anyone's doing. It's just all it goes through all of that, but it's all in sync because of the time. And it's like, you know, I'm a great advocate in the 1,000 hours, you know, and like taking it back to the mics. It's like before we had mics, we had our voices. Like were you beatboxing before you had a mic?
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you found the tool within you that you could be like, yo,
Amplify this,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But actually, like, you know, it starts off with just like a group of friends and they're like, yeah, actually, nah, do that thing, bro.
That's exactly how it works.
That's how it works,
Yes.
and it's like, do that thing. And that's the same with me. It was like, you know, like everyone else was on the turntables or whatever, or we were out on road and man was beatboxing and they were like, say something, bruv. Come on, say something. And it's like, But they're the basics of it, and it's like
Gutter rule.
yeah, the gutter rule, bruv. And actually, it doesn't matter like what tools you have or what background you've come from. It's dedication, fam.
Yeah.
It's dedication, because you could have stopped and been like, no, actually, I'm bored of that. I want to do something else. But there was something exciting in it, like, and that brings us back to that whole sort of like being on stage and like the addictive factor of it. That's where it started. Started for me in a car park, like on the stairs in the car park with all the gang, and we're having a little smoke, and then man started beatboxing. It's just like, yeah, jump in. Do you know what I'm saying? But it was like, I knew like that I couldn't do the beatboxing thing. I mean, I tried, because we all go through, like, you know, you try everything. And I was like, nah. And it was like, you know, like the guy that was there was so good that it was like, no, man can just rap.
Bang, bang,
Like,
off we go.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's the basics.
Fight or flight, it's that feeling of whether you're on stage, there's an the consistency in why you do your thing isn't just the emergency on stage, it's the emergency behind the thing. It's like, I haven't got anything else.
Yeah.
You got to keep going. And you love what you do. You take it seriously as a job, innit? But at the same time, you know that it isn't.
Yeah, and you've got to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, from when you stop having fun, that's when you've got to hang up whatever you're hanging in. Like, when you stop having fun, hang up whatever you're hanging in. Like, because once the fun stops, it's like, actually, like, you know.
Well, you get some gems this episode, boy.
But that's one of the things, though, innit? It's like, you know, all the people that I've worked in and around, like, and I have so much love for everyone that has been with me on my journey and my path and all the paths that I've entwined with, and every one of them we can all link again at some point. There's never no issues. But it's like, it's that whole thing of being somewhere, and like half the time it's not even about like impressing the people that you don't know. Like, for me, jumping on stage with a load of people that I've never seen before, that's a minor.
Yeah.
But when one of the man them pops up, it's like, oh yeah, better come with some goods. Which actually brings it back to the car park of when I was in the. Listen, if you said something rubbish, everyone would shut you down.
The car park of life, baby.
Do you know what I'm saying? No, but that's what it is. Like, that's what it is, and it's like, and but also that's where the joy comes from. That's where the eagerness to try it again and want to do it again and want to better yourself, because everything is always evolution. And if you stop evolving, then you need to stop. Like, and you've like, you know, I look at it like this, like, every 5 years, there's got to be some kind of personal or self-evolution in whatever way it comes
Good
through,
or
whether
bad,
it's
right?
good or bad, it don't matter. There has to, like, you know, because if you can get sort of like trapped in the spiral of something, and then like, you know, and it can be the most amazing thing ever. It could be the biggest thing ever, but actually, like after 5 years, that's where you need to show some kind of evolution to yourself personally or your craft in what you're doing, because then that's how you move forward again to keep yourself active and
Explain
to keep.
the theory on that a bit more. So, because sounds like something you've definitely considered over time.
Oh, it's something that I've thought about and looked back over and been like, oh yeah, I've actually done that. Like I've been doing that before I even knew what it was. I was like, oh right, yeah, I have. Like it has worked out roughly like that. So basically, like the way I see things is everything has like a 5-year timeline. So from the start of something really, really kicking off and really working, like you got 5 years to capitalize. Yeah, because after that 5 years, like whoever the crowds, the audience, whatever the people that are into you, the diehards, all the rest of it, like everyone evolves. Yeah, like, and just because you evolve, that doesn't mean you don't like what you liked back then, but actually, like, you know, you want to see someone grow with how you're growing and how because life don't stay the same, bro. Like everything grows and it's all an evolution. So if you can help yourself and make them tiny steps to evolve in whatever way, shape or form, like then that keeps you in a consistent realm where you can like consistently work. Because the way I see it is, I ain't got nothing else other than my voice. Like rubbish with my hands, apart from with the gallon, but that's a different matter. But other than that, like, you know, I don't do manual labours and all of them things. Like it's like, you know, I have no education. Like so I have to always look on it like, yeah, like what's going to be the next steps of evolution. And a lot of the times you don't know how you're going to do it, but there'll be something that clicks and be like, oh, I'm going to start experimenting with this, or I'm going to bring in this technique now because I've kind of mastered this technique. Because when you do something for 5 years, after 3 years, you're pretty damn homed in on it. Like by the 3rd year, it's seamless. It's seamless. By the 4th year, it's seamless. But then you get into monotony, and it starts getting a little bit boring because it's easy. It's light work. Like, and then by the 5th year, yeah, you're still smashing it. But actually, if you're not in a realm where you're ready to evolve, then you'll start to see things like leaving, and you'll start to see parts like going in whatever way they go.
This is because we're talking about evolution here. You know, early adopted UK hip hop. I would go as far as to say it's veteran compared to, you know, from back in the day.
Been there.
Mixtapes, albums, you know, and then, you know, falling into the DMC world of hosting and hyping and now King of the Rollers. When you forecast this 5-year period, is it during that 4 to 5 years that you look for kind of exit holes or strategy or?
That's where you start strategizing. Yeah. It's not exit holes because you're still doing something that you love. And if it gets taken away, like we've all had loads of things taken away, then you start to really realize what you really love. Yeah. So for me personally.
Oh God, listen, this is some real shit right here. Jesus Christ, keep going.
For me personally, there is no exit strategies, because if it is something that you love, then why would you want to exit it? But if it is also something that you love, why would you not want to evolve it to make your love go deeper? You know, because like that's what it is. It's like, come on, with you, the personal evolution with you. Like, yeah, you started off beatboxer, microphone, and then where did it go? You done everything, bro. Like, but all at different stages. Never all at once, but all at different stages.
Yeah.
And every time you found one of these new stages, did that first time excitement and energy not just overwhelm you? And it just was just like, man's electric again. It's like, oh, there's something like, I haven't got a full grip on this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I want to try it.
Yeah, 1000%. Actually, funnily, you mentioned this, because I think the last time we saw each other was at the DMC World Champion. Big shout out to my DMC crew.
Yes, love to the Sally and all the gang. Sally, you know, salute, darling.
The Sally. Not to mention all the people that support and represent every year.
Worldwide.
Bonkers.
It's mad.
But, you know, those audience don't pull no punches. And I remember going on stage on that one particular event, and standard business. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot of chin stroking in the crowd, a lot of boozers in the crowd. People have had a drink, and you've really got to show and prove.
But that's the raw
Yeah.
essence.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in that place, it's like that's
Go,
the
go,
essence.
go, go, go. I definitely walked away after that particular round of gig, and I thought to myself, you know what? There's a wind of change happening, because it wasn't that. I don't know. I wouldn't want to speak for the audience, and I certainly, wouldn't want to speak for the members of the crew. There were certain things that in my mind I was like, yo, this has to switch up. It just has to switch the fuck up. And that's came this, and all this sort of stuff.
That's what happens. You get them moments where you're like, okay, like I love what I'm doing. I didn't enjoy that as much. Like, what can I do next? Like, how can I incorporate everything that I've learned? Because, like, ultimately, we have for years we have traded our blood, sweat, and tear to a craft. Like, whichever way you look at it, like, whatever, like, all of that time, that is valuable time. And for me, that's why I see everything as it has to evolve, because I don't want to throw away any of that time, because I've loved all of that time. I've loved every part of my journey.
Yeah.
Every part, the ups and downs, I've loved every part of the journey, because it wouldn't be a journey without every part.
Yo.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
But also at the same time, I'd never want to banish myself, dismiss any part of the journey, because it's all like calibrated and it's all coagulated to make me what I am now.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if I'd have missed any parts of the journey, then we wouldn't be sitting here.
No.
Like, and like every time there's been a slight evolution, every time there's been like, do you know what, that weren't the one, or like when it's got to the point with people that you're working with and it's like, well, we've kind of got to call it a day. We're not calling it a day, but we're gonna like, everyone wants to evolve and everyone wants to move forward in their own light and in their own way. And like, I've never had any resentments or any issues with anyone like in them circumstances, because I'm like, as long as you do something that makes you happy, like that's what matters. Like, whether you, like, if you're no longer happy with the surroundings and the group, then take yourself out of that and find what makes you happy. And then at some point, once you do clock, actually, this makes me happy, then all of a sudden you might start ringing up the man them and being like, yeah, do you know what? Like, if you're into it, I know it's a bit different now, but if you're into it, do you want to come and slide on this and see if you can catch a vibe?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, listen, you and me, we've come from the same paddock of integrity and career space. Dude, you're kind of, we share similar now in that your journey, you're collecting newer, fresher eyes and ears and audiences. There's people that watch this day and you haven't got a clue what I did back in the day. To have this conversation now, people are just like, what?
What is he talking about? Who's that you got with you, Kel?
But you've got audience that are the same, innit? Like, I put you in high praise in the same place as Skibbity and Harry Shotter and all these kind of characters that are now gracing the stage on a level of, they know hip hop, they grew up in it, but they also do this really well. Yeah. And that's new eyes and ears. And had you not done that transition or rather betted on the right horse of a project to get on as organically as it could be perceived, it's like, yo, that's sick, because now you've got a whole new world.
Got a whole new vibe. But that's also the thing, like, that's also the part of evolution, and that's evolution with sound or with people or with an environment. If you haven't got young people coming in, then actually what happens is it ends up spiraling down and not continuing. Like not every, like that's like the main thing about evolution, because in that 5-year period, all of them people that are there, like, by the time that like the 5 years is nearly up, they can be completely different people to the ones that like first clocked on in that first 5 years. So actually, like, if you're not continually trying to bring in people, trying to show love to the new up and coming people and everything, like, it's like, then like to me, that means that you want to go down with the ship. And I don't want the ship to go down, brother. I want, like, and it doesn't, like, I don't care for me personally in that factor. All these environments that I've been in and that I've come from, Like essentially, I was a little flipping like b-boy kid without really knowing I was a b-boy kid, because all of my older cousins were actual b-boys, but I was too little. But actually, that mentality and that mindset was always there. And then like, you know, it's where I get a bit like disappointed with you know, some diehard people that are like, yeah, no, it has to be like this, and it always has to be like this, and this is the only thing, and this is the only way. And actually, it's not. No. It's not, because for evolution and for things to move forward, you have to be open to everyone and everything, and at every step of the way. Like, you know, yeah. I mean, it makes me laugh sometimes. Some of the things that I see, so the way that some of the Uties go on, like, and I'm like, rah, that's mad. And I'll have conversations with people, and they're like, nah, that's not right. Someone needs to tell them, and I'm like, bro. If someone turned around and told me, I'd have told them where to go, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'd have told them,
man.
You can't tell people nothing. But if they're there and they're enjoying it, that's all you want. That means that it lives.
Yeah.
That means it lives, man. Like from when you turn up at a place and it's just like, you've just got like the stereotypical crowd that you've been seeing for 5 years, and like, you know, it's getting smaller because they're all going off their ways, but you're not getting the young ones coming in to replace them. Then like, you need to find a way to evolve.
Yeah, you got to find you're in the wrong seat, aren't you?
Yeah, you are in the wrong seat. You are in the wrong seat because it's all evolution. Like, and it is evolution, and we all evolve, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I have every utmost respect for everything in my past that's led me up to here, because I wouldn't be what I am without all of that. But at the same time, like, as humans, as an existence, as an entity in this planet, our whole thing is to evolve. Like, and we have to. And if we're not evolving, then what are we doing?
Give me someone that you'd say of an age maybe older than us, that you'd feel is doing that right, that evolution right.
Rodney P, always.
Okay.
Like, straight out, salute to Rodney. like Rodney P, I heard his voice when I was a kid, and I was like, rah, these are the first people with an English accent I've ever heard. Like, I was little.
People forget that them Demon Boys, and maybe they're
Demon
the only
Boys
ones
as well. Like, them man there, Demon Boys, like Rodney, like big up Millie and Dan. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Millie and Dan, come on.
Like, but them guys, like, you know, Rodney in particular, he has always evolved, and like, yes, he is like, that's original b-boy territory. Like, original. No one can tell me nothing, bro. Rodney, original, salute.
Covent Garden, boom.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the original flipping like DNA strand. But then you've seen him work with all of the hip hop people. You've seen him work with
Dub Pistols,
like, Pistols, like if Rodney's in a vibes and your thing's bringing a vibe, Rodney's on your vibe.
Yeah.
Like, but that's also, that shows you that my man's not. There is no fear of evolution, and there is no fear of he has in my eyes, like, you know, because I don't see him that often to speak to, but in my eyes, it seems like my man is so happy and at one with himself that he's like, let's try a thing. Like, is it fun? Yeah, all right. Like,
do you think though that, because you're right, 1000%, but I think with Rodney, I think the reason why I'm guessing why he remains consistent and relevant is because his mission brief hasn't changed. He's got a mission brief. It's like he speaks for a minority. He speaks for UK rap. He speaks for people that are tired of the American accent. He speaks for the youth that he was once that need to come up. I think it's all these different things come into play, don't they?
But then that's someone who's never ignored their past to move forward. Because there are some people that have tried to lock off like what they've been a part of so they can move forward, and it might work for a short spell.
But it dies
quick.
Then,
it dies real fast. How many times have you seen it?
You
can't count.
I thought of someone as you were saying it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen it relentlessly. But then with people like him, it's like, he is a vibes man. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like man, I've seen him and Skits pour out flipping so much JD in people's faces at front of stages, and it doesn't matter whether it's from the first time I see them to the last time I see them. Like, they're still doing it, and like, even the ones that might not know who they are, that are seeing these two absolutely kill it with vibes, charisma, style, lingua, everything. When they're seeing that, they're instantly drawn to it because it's entertaining. Yeah. And then the fact that my man can interact like on a level that just brings everyone in, like, it's why like I don't ever expect to never not see like Rodney in places. Like, you know, maybe not as often as like it once was, but he's still about and he's still there and at various big things.
And versatile as well.
And the voice, bruv, like apart from all of
Hold.
that, let's go back to the
Hands
raw
down.
essence of him, the voice. Like, you know, I'll be honest with some people, I don't even care what they say. I just like listening to their tone of voice.
Bruce
Like,
Maneuver's another one like that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wow, yeah.
Like, bro,
Voice.
there's loads of them. But it's like, you know, like with Rodney, because like, you know, that's like original, like, and you can see my man has evolved every single time.
Yeah.
And he's kept it moving, which is like, that's a quote from him probably.
Old
It
time,
sounds
Rodney.
like it. Like,
Okay.
he's kept it moving, like, which is what it's about.
Yeah.
Like, and for when you stop and like just go a bit stagnant, that's when things don't move, man.
Yeah, that's where things start.
And how can things run if they ain't moving?
It's funny you bring up Rodney on a vibes because, was it important justifies?
Importance never justifies anything.
There you go. Right, so this is the vibe right here. And again, if you're just clocking into Inja and the versatilities and energy of the man, I mean, geez, that is a running commentary there that you bring to the stage. And I said at the start, you know, it's vibes. But it's funny you mentioned Rodney in such a detailed way because actually kind of mirrors you. That vibe, the energy, the essence. Like you've always brought a positive flip on anything, whether it's Instagram, whether it's COVID, anything, you just flip it.
But then that's I'm one of their kids. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
real. Their man, their DNA
Yeah.
runs through
Through
me.
us, yeah.
Like, it runs
Yeah,
through
yeah.
us,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
am one of their kids. So it's like, you know, like whenever anyone starts anything, it generally starts out of imitation for what you're seeing and what you're really enjoying, and it's complete imitation. And then if you get past and over the imitation phase, then that's where it starts to actually like you start to find your own style. But then with that own style, like, you know, in my head, I even ring up people. Yeah, I ring up people. Like I'm not mentioning no names, but I was writing a song, and I wrote this song. For my latest album, actually, I wrote this song for it, and like on listening back to it now, I've recorded it, listening back, I'm loving it, and I'm like, right, but I feel like I'm doing my man's flow, like straight, like because for me, like I'm flipping, I'm a b-boy baby, and biting is not, that does not come in. That's there is none of that,
that.
So
Yeah.
to the point where I'm listening to the thing now so much, I've rung up the dude who I think whose flow, I'm like, bruv, I've done this thing,
I'm sorry.
And he's like, no, for real. I've done this thing, and like, I need you to listen to it because I think I've jacked yours and my man's flow in it. And
That's
he was
so
like,
sick that you've done that,
bro,
though.
because I'm real.
Yeah.
I'm real. And I was like, I need you to either give me a forward or tell me to pull it, bro.
Yeah.
Because I really like it, but I'm in a really confused place right now.
Yeah.
Because in my head, all I'm hearing is you, man.
So what did you say? What did you say?
Bruv, I sent it to him. He rang me back. He was like, Inch, love the ting. I don't think so whatsoever. Like, that's all you. And I was like, do you know
Lessons.
what? Thank you. And do you know how much respect my man shows me? Like he always showed me respect before then. But he was like, bruv, no one's ever done that. And the amount of people that bite my style and bite my things, and yet you've sat down, you've written a song,
Love
you've
that.
thought about it, and then you've gone, I need to ring up my man.
There's a lot of people out there who need to be doing that with certain people. That's what I'm saying.
Real talk, like,
Yeah.
you know, and also as well, if you do go, because like I class these people as like the gods, as the owners, like, you know, because they're the people that I always looked up to, and they're the people that still inspire me, like, and from when you can reach out to them and just be like, you know, like, just be honest and be like, I've done a thing, like, I don't want it to come out, and then you ring me up like, yo, fam, like, you biting my things right
My
there.
worst life.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because I've seen people do that, and nah, they don't live good after that. Like,
Yeah.
they don't live good after that.
They rattle when they walk.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, like, to be able to do that, like, and it takes a lot of courage, and like, but if your energy and yourself is in the right place, then it ain't an issue. Because like, you know, I know some people get so precious about songs, and I'm like, it's just a song, bro. Because of the writers that I was brought up with, it's just like, well, boy, if my man's like, nah, you have to pull that, I'm like, yeah, no qualms. That's a minor. because like the whole thing is we move forward and we keep it moving. Like you have to like if you any kind of stagnation, like that's when things fall apart.
He's right, and you're right. Progression. Somebody, there's no right or wrong way of making music. There's moral boundaries which you set yourself, and that's a clear moral boundary that I think should be translated to a lot of different people and places. But with the eve of certain technological advances on social media and whatnot, there is an impatience. Even I have it. We all have it. It's like, let's post it now. Let's get our sound now. Let's get a song out now.
Yeah.
And you talk about the hours that you put in and the organicness of being in a car park and just vibing. You don't have to have the camera on, Like, you can just do it. Find those special moments and develop it. Do you think there's enough of that going on? Do you think people... I mean, I wouldn't want to take you to a negative place. You'll probably tell me to shut up. But do you think that there is a time right now where quality over quantity...
Oh, definitely. And I think a lot of people lack patience. Like, nothing negative about it. I get it. I love the enthusiasm and all the rest of it. But I think patience is like the statement says, patience is a virtue. And if you can hold your ground and not be flipping gaslit and gassed by all the people around you to actually like do it, it's like you'll probably find you'll get a better outcome. But I get the impatience. Like, I get that. Like, we've all done that. Oh my God, I've made this thing right. I've got to get it out somehow. And then when you've gone through the process so quick to actually get it, it never really works to the full potential that it could. Because patience is like, everything takes time, and I get it. Some people ain't got patience, but if you haven't got patience, at some point something will educate you and something will teach you patience, whether you want it or not.
Whether you want it or not.
It's truth.
Yeah.
Whether you want it or not. Like that road will come, and that road will have to be crossed at some point.
Yeah.
Whether you want to cross it or not. But something will come up that'll make you ease back and just like, be like, okay, right, yeah, all right. I need to not necessarily not so eager, but maybe not so forceful and pushy with how you want to do something.
The teachings will be taught eventually,
It
basically.
is though. It is because, we all have to learn. And it's like, like being flipping of Jamaican, like heritage, like one of the things that I've always that's always in my mind whenever like we're in these kind of conversations is those that can't hear will feel. And if you're not listening, at some point you're going to feel it. And if you ain't got patience, at some point something's going to teach you and it's going to hurt.
Oh, fucking...
Like,
what's it like in your home? I mean, this is some shit right here. What's your family environment? Talk to me about your environment. What leads to these? These aren't just. These are well crafted. This is well crafted commentary, and I want to know how you get to these moments.
I mean, I think just like like I'm a single dad. I have my child a few days a week. I genuinely, outside of work and outside of coming to do wicked things like this and just chat with gang, like I'm very solitude, and it's not that I like. I mean, we all can be overthinkers, but it's also I like my own space and time, so then I can not be influenced because I can only be my own influence. And it's very easy to get caught up in some things like, like, geez, as much as I'm like, yeah, I don't like to be, fam, when I'm with certain people and like the vibes is right, anything can happen.
Round them up.
Danger, bruv, it's dangerous. But like at the same time, it's like, I try to, I don't know. I don't know. Just, I was brought up well, man. I was brought up by a load of flipping, like my family, both sides of them, like they are lovely and amazing, but there is no shit taking, like, and there is like there ain't no space for mistakes, like, and if you do, then you have to feel it so you learn, so you don't do it again. But like there isn't any place for it, but everyone is happy for you to make them as long as you're learning, like, because you can't teach someone something. They have to. You can teach us. No, let me start that again. You can teach up to a certain point, but that's just words, and that is essentially someone else's opinion. And until you find yourself in a way where you can actually live that and actually really feel it, that's the only time where you'll ever really get a grasp on it.
Real life rather than...
Real life.
Big up to you, university crews. And big up to the single dads as well, looking after the looking after their boys and their daughters.
And the mums too, man.
Yeah,
Everyone, like, it ain't easy.
Yeah, for sure, 100%, 100%. You've got to go through that path, essentially. And do you ever think though, with the creative arts and, like you say, face that journey. The arts are fraught sometimes with, that balancing act of monetizing and being creative. Like what we're talking about here a lot is the creative process. But to a lot of people that have, got their 9-to-5 jobs and are trying to look after their own, the idea of going, quote unquote, self-employed and doing what we've essentially done it doesn't even fathom thinking about.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
It's a massive risk. It's a massive risk, Like, my advice to anyone, I've always been like, if you've got something in the creative field, it doesn't matter what it is, like, and it doesn't matter how good you become at it, like, always have a job. Like, always have something that's going to pay your rent. Because if you want to rely on something to pay your rent, you're going to end up hating it.
Yeah.
You're going to end up hating it.
Yeah.
Like, it's why we work out ways, and we're always plotting and scheming on ways that we can flip and make sure the bills are all paid, and then still go out and do what we do. And then, like, if you're fortunate enough, at some point, it'll get to the point where you'll have to make a choice. Like, and then when you go to make that choice, you have to think it through thoroughly, because it's not an easy decision. No. Like, and actually, like, from when you make that decision, and this is all from my experience, as soon as you make that decision, like, whatever side you choose, there's going to be a lull, because you're going to go through a time of self-doubt because you've made a decision and you've had to choose an option.
So and you feel suspended in a place where you're like, I've just let go of my last line, and I'm in the air.
Yeah, like, but then if you can still have patience, like, eventually, and you work hard at it and you show dedication, it will come through. But, like, I've always said to people, I'm like, just make sure you've got something. Like, make sure you've got something. Like, it's one of them age-old things, innit? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. Until you know it's your basket and you can carry that basket, and you making sure that basket's always full, like, do what you can do. Bruv, if you got to go to 7 different supermarkets to fill your basket, go to 7 different supermarkets until you can open up your own thing. Shop everywhere.
So in terms of 7 different supermarkets, as the analogy, because you are, in my mind, you're hip-hop, constant host, you're an album releaser, mixtape, savage, beast, MC, dropping of bars. Yeah. You're the junction in Cambridge. What's it called? Organics.
Organics. Yeah, man.
Wicked times. Yeah, come on.
Wicked times, man.
Recesses of my mind. But then you're drum and bass as well. Yeah. And, even those 3 or 4 things I've just listed is only like a small part, but these are like supermarkets that you're just kind of redirecting attention to and keeping the plate spinning, isn't it? Yeah. What do you prefer?
I love them all. It's vibes. Like, I love vibes to the point where I rung up one of the boys the other day who was going out to do his first show post having a baby, and I rung up his DJ and like his sort of like management, and I was like, yo, I heard he's going to do a show. Like, where is it? And can I just roll in? And they were like, raw, what, you just want to roll through? I'm like, yeah, I just want to come because I know it's going to be vibes, innit?
Oh,
and then it turned out that I couldn't go, but then, like, I was speaking to the guy last week and he was like, bruv, you were early on it. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I don't get it with you, but you were the first person to ring me being like, bruv, get me a hotel. I want to come. Like, I'm paying for the hotel, whatever. Like, I just wanted to come and catch some vibes. And this was a hip hop thing. This was a straight up hip hop thing. And I was like, oh, I'm gutted. I couldn't get a sitter, so I couldn't go. Like, and he was like, bruv, like, a week after you called, I ended up getting like 2 or 3 carloads of people that wanted to come up because they obviously knew it was a vibe. But you were on that so early, like you were the first one out the gate.
Priority seating, you
like,
see? Come on.
But like that's the thing for me. It's all vibes. Like and like I love the vibes. Like I come from like the hip hop lyricist background, like as like. getting to go round to flipping Napa and Life's house, like, because they lived in For Life Cypher, do you know what I mean? Because they lived in Luton, and that's where I'm originally from, and they're from the same estate where I was born and raised on. So it was like to go and see them, that was amazing. To go Highbury Estate and go hang out with Task Force for all the years that I had, like all of these people, that was like some serious training, like, and just being around them, like, and they were all so lovely. Their families, everyone just took man in like it was like nothing. But then everything that I've learned and all the info and the intel that I gathered from all of these amazing writers, like, because they are amazing writers, and like all of that is all part of my journey, and that's partly what makes me who I am now. You know, it's all of like if you go back and look through all of the DNA strands, my DNA strands go from like hip hop to dance music to reggae to grime to garage. Like I just love things with vibes. Like, or you could find me flipping like at a random jazz festival the other side of the world, freestyling with jazz musicians because it's fun. Like find me at Ronnie Scott's like every year or two, just jamming with the band because we catch jokes and they're like, yeah, man can spin it. So like, come through. Yeah, it's been a while since you've been. You've got to come through. Can you come? I'm like, yeah, cool. It's vibes.
Do you drink?
Yeah, sometimes.
Do you smoke?
A little bit.
I can't imagine you'd need any of that.
It's
just, you're in.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Like, I don't smoke. I smoke more cigarettes than I smoke anything else. Drinks wise, probably in the last 2 months, I've had one occasion where I've drunk, and that was when, like, I went to see like some proper gang, and I was like, got given a bottle of champagne, and I was like, right, turned up at the gang house. I was like, right, we're having a drink. Yeah, like, whack that in the freezer for 20 minutes. Like, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all time and a place for me.
You cited some heavy hitters there in the genre, the UK hip hop, early UK hip hop genre, which is still prevalent now as artists. The training ground that, man, oh God, I can just remember it. That just the levels of, it was like athleticism.
Bruv, it was athleticism times being in a ball pit, because if you couldn't hold it, you were off, bruv. Rickshawed off, bro. Rickshaw him out, like straight up. And that's like, but then that I think is one of the cutthroat things that I think is missing at the minute.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like, like outside of like the locks and like watching that.
Oh my God.
Like that's the first time I've seen. And there probably is more than that, but that's the first time I'd seen American artists for a while actually just rap on their instrumentals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind the choruses being in there, but when you've got your verses and your bars, like, people singing over their own songs.
Yeah.
Like, it's karaoke, fam.
Yeah.
I don't do that. Like, because actually, like, what I was brought up in, like, imagine down at Kung Fu and all them places, man jumped up and just sang over his song.
Mate.
Like, bruv, what?
But this should be like simpler shit. I mean, my boy, Whole Type B-Boy Documents, he was telling stories of like how, Rakim got booed off, LL Cool J got booed off the stage because they were back in the 80s. Like, this is like a repeat of the history that's gone. It's like, have you not learned? Have you not learned?
No, but also it's not necessarily that they haven't learned, but it's like a lot of the young ones, because you can't tell them off for not learning and not being educated. You can only show them and be like, no, but check this, and this is how it can be. But like, there's not many examples that are showing them actually you can just run the instrumental and rap your thing.
Do you think, there is URL, hold tight the URL, Don't Flop Crew, and I mean, listen, although a lot of the bars are pre-written, there is a technique to that which is standalone is like madness.
Mate, I think it's amazing. Like, it's not my personal preference.
Yeah.
But on an art perspective,
you get it.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I get it, like, completely. Like, it's never something that I would want to get involved in because it's not really me, and I don't have the memory capacity to remember anything without a musical structure behind it.
Yeah.
Like, but salute, man. That is art.
It's big time.
It's
big time.
art, man. To be able to stand there, remember God knows how many verses that you've written. not even just remember them, but execute them. Like, because it's all about the execution. Like, know how to execute them in that way. Like, and like, you know, like, let's be
They'll
real.
clock you. They'll clock you if you stumble as well. They'll have you.
Like, it's a hostile environment. It's not as hostile as like battle rap like originates from, but it's still a hostile environment. Yeah? And it's like, seeing that, and it's like, hats off to them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've had people talk to me about them, and like people talk about their grievances with it and all the rest of it, and I'm like, you can have all of that, but is it bringing young people in?
That's right, and that's what
it is. It's ticking all the boxes. Then, like, I don't have to be fully into it, but if I can see the vibe
with it,
and I can catch vibes,
I'm with it. I'm wholeheartedly with you. It's the same with the beatbox culture, the DJ culture. Anything that needs a lift, that normally derives from technology, but a lot of it is like, well, are you ready for the next generation? That's the real question, isn't it?
And that is, and in some fields, some people aren't, because they block that stuff off. But actually, it gets to the point where when you find them ones that actually just love it because they love it, they build their own thing.
Yeah, you end up doing their own anyway,
and then you've end up got like the original thing here, and then you've got these new kids that have then built a thing, and they're not connecting because, like, you know, you've got the originals that are like, nah, not really. You're like, like, nah, this isn't how it should be. But actually, like, the new ones are evolving it.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And like, regardless of whether the people before them are into it or not, just by people listening to them, at some point they might go back and be like, who was before this?
That's right.
Because that's what happens, or something might
Always
come up,
happens.
or like, you know, one of the new kids might get gassed and flipping get one of their favourites,
Yeah.
and then like all of these new kids are like, oh my god, who's this new guy that I've never heard
Yeah,
before?
yeah.
Only to then realise, oh wow, this guy is essentially the father of the guy that I like.
Truth.
Because listening back to like. Going back, I can hear like where the person that I like has actually come from now.
Yeah. We have that in many cases as onlookers, seeing younger artists come from. I mean, like, I'm almost certain T-Pain is waiting for a resurgence in terms of.
Well, the fact that
getting
AJ Tracy's just had him on a song that's
There you
now
go,
I'm
boom.
hearing on the radio
There
all
you
the
go,
time.
boom. There you go. Back to the original person, the source, and he was a. You know, regardless of the auto
He
tune,
smashed it.
he sang too. He was like
He can listen. Yeah, when they actually really first heard him sing,
they couldn't believe it. They were like, "What the fuck?"
What was it? He done a NPR, innit?
Yeah.
He done an NPR, no auto tune, bang.
Nailed
like
it.
I got sent it by like, I don't know, it's either my sister or one of my friends, and they were like, "Yo,
You won't
watch
believe
T-Pain,"
this.
and I'm watching it, and I'm like, "Raw." Like, but the thing is as well, what a lot of people don't really get about auto tune is to be able to use auto tune. And to manipulate it to the point where, like, you can have all of them cadences that it has in it, you have to understand how to sing. You can't just be a bad singer, like, because to actually get them notes that like, you know, like, however it works, you actually have to have some knowledge for it.
That's right.
So if you're like, you know, I could be the worst singer in the world, jump on autotune, I could never make anything like T-Pain. Like, T-Pain had to have had knowledge. Before someone was like, yo, bruv, what happens when I flick this switch? And they were like, do you know what? That's really mad, but I like it. Do you know what I mean?
And that's how it works. It's finding those zeitgeist moments of like, and it changes the dynamic of a
Changed the
whole
whole
scene.
game. It changed the whole game. That changed the whole game, man. Like, auto-tune before T-Pain, as far as I'm aware of it, was just used in really big studios to correct people's like tiny little mistakes. Like, which is all good, but then, like, when you've got someone that's just like, nah, I'm actually doing this on purpose. To be able to sing like that and make auto-tune make you sound like that, you got to be able to do something.
And people do eventually go back to source, don't they? They do go back to source. Like, not. It's also, who was it? Not Heady One. I think I remember who it was that got Oxide and Neutrino on a tune as well. I forget the name.
I don't know which one that one is.
But yeah, just the idea.
But to go back, like, you know, it's
brilliant.
like when Getz done a tune and bought Mega Man on.
Yeah.
Like, because he's talking about Mega Man flow, and he's even wearing a Mega Man style hat, and it's like, I get that.
Yeah. Oh, and I
because,
see Gigs as well. Got Buster as well.
yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like all of that stuff like that.
Comes
It's
back
like,
around.
yeah, it always does. Because actually, at some point, like, you know, like we're all still children inside, regardless of how we look. And at some point, regardless of how good you are and how far it takes you, at some point that little kid inside you is going to be like, I mean, this was my favourite person ever. Is there a way I can get my favourite person ever on it?
Yeah.
Can I get, like, you know, like, I can't speak for gigs, but in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I'm now to the point where I'm this big. Surely we can get Buster. Surely we can get Buster. Do you know what I mean? There must be a way.
Make
like,
my life complete.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
like tick boxes,
Yeah.
bruv.
That's right, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Who would yours be?
I mean, I got to do it. Like, I got to do that. Like, and for me, it was a tune. I made a tune called Hat Low, probably like over a decade ago now. But I managed to get Fallacy and Skinny Man on it. That was like,
Together.
yeah, on the same track. And I mean, like, it was hard work, mate. It was hard work catching them two, bruv. Catching them two's like being out in a big wide ocean with the tiniest little fishing rod, and you're trying to catch them killer whites, bruv. Like,
No doubt about it.
Like-
Hold tight to them, man.
Hold tight, skinny, big fouls, like,
Come on.
damn right. But like, you know, that for me, that was like, you know, and like, I've done that. And yeah, there probably is like, maybe some more here and there, but I think after that one I was like, yeah, like I'm good. I'm good, because it was like that was amazing for me.
Sure.
Because like, you know, like Fallacy's album Black Market Boy, when did that come out? That come out like beginning of the 2000s, and he had jungle drum and bass, he had garage, he had hip hop, he had sort of like a reggae style bashment on it. He had like, in what I consider to be
The DNA.
the blueprint of what is now.
Yeah.
He made that album 20 years
I
ago.
find it unfathomable that the idea of that not having done better than it did.
I mean, do you know what I'm saying? But actually, it was at the time, because at that time...
Ahead of its time.
It was so ahead of its time. And I've spoken to him about it. I was like, bruv, the album's the DNA, bruv. That's the blueprint. Because you watch everyone that's come out like since, that's added all of them elements, and it's like, my man done that. Like, he was like, because in my eyes, he was so deep into vibes, and it's like, you know, I mentioned all of them things in all the stuff that makes me like, but like, you know, he was like, that is a representation of UK.
Yeah, and he was into it. He was into I remember him being
Fully.
at DMCs.
I've seen him at flipping, like, just like, you know, gone up to Manchester, and he's like, yeah, bruv, we're going to this house night. You got shoes? I'm like, you know, I ain't got shoes.
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, I'll sort it out. Like, like, do you know what I'm saying? And it's
Fouls.
like, but that's like, you know, my man was like, he is the DNA for all of that. So far ahead of his time.
Yeah, if you're talking Council of State of Mind, big up Skinny on all
course,
levels.
like-
You've got to put Black Market Boy in there in
course.
terms of levels of.
Just levels of vibes and representing UK. Like, you know, Skinny represented the estate, like, fully and hard. And then Fouls, for me, he represented just every part. He represented every part of club life.
He was the backdoor of club life. He was the grit that was going
club
on.
life.
Yeah.
That whole album there is UK club life,
Yeah.
and actually, in every single flavour that he like stepped in every single one of them clubs, because at that point they were all separate entities.
They were, yeah.
Like at that point, every one of them, you go in, it's
No merchants
vibe.
of shit,
There was
yeah.
none of that. What?
That's
Like,
right.
you might be lucky to have a room of something that's close to what's in the main room as a side room, but there was no, like, you wouldn't have got away with doing being a DJ, doing a set and starting off in one genre and going into another, because they'd have taken you off.
That's right.
Because they wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. But for me, that project is that is the backbone of UK club life. And like, for me, UK club life is the child of UK dance music. And as much as people, like, you know, want to be, whether you want to be flipping hardcore, flipping hip hop, rap, gangster rap, drill, grime, whatever, most of that stuff starts like in the dance, like, and it is a dance floor thing.
It is a dance
like,
floor
you know, it's why I think loads of people get scared when they have these flipping like young drill crews come up, and they get scared because they see a bunch of like youth like go into it and fully letting loose and enjoying themselves. That scares people.
It scares people.
Because they're like, oh my God, they've all come together.
Yeah.
They're all in the same place.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they're getting on, like, you know, they'll try and provoke it to make something happen so then they can close it down.
Yeah.
Like, but actually it's like, it's a unity, it's a unification.
Yeah.
Like
It's
all
a
of
central
these
point,
things
isn't
are.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And for me, UK dance music within itself, if you look at how much we've influenced the world to the point where in the last 10 years, like some of the biggest artists, some of the biggest labels, they've come and they've been trying to cherry pick our producers for our sound, because actually, like as much as people can try and no, what's the word, not intimidate, as much as people can try and copy the styles, like that genuineness, like UK has got a lot to answer for.
Authenticity,
That's the word, the
yeah.
authenticity.
You're right.
We've got a lot to answer for. Like, and it kind of makes me laugh because there's 2 islands in the world that I see that have actually overly influenced like Western music, and between Jamaica and the UK, like.
Yeah.
like the ripple effects of the influence is worldwide.
100%. I
worldwide.
don't know what's in our cereal, but for sure, like I think there's incubation places where creativity can flourish, isn't it?
Well, it's also I think it's also on the backbone of that whole sort of like b-boy influence of this is what I do and what,
Yeah.
and I don't care.
Yeah.
This is what I do and this is how I do it. Like,
How much does that play? Just on that note, how much of that plays into your head? King of the Rollers is the latest, of a number of things that are flying for you at the moment. And how much I know there's, I kind of know the answer to this, but just to clarify,
Go on.
you don't give. I'm b-boy. This is what I'm doing. This is how I am. I'm going on stage, and I'm going to rock this drum and bass. Like, how much of that don't give a fuck influences you in those kind of movements that are just one of the same?
There is like it doesn't matter what stage, it doesn't matter where, and I think that's one of the things. Like, I don't care if I make mistakes live, like, because actually it kind of gives me more intel to then just flip the whole scenario. Like, do you know what I mean? I kind of like that. Like, it's like from like all my family being Jamaican and me having a heavy reggae influence behind everything to the whole hip hop side of things. It's like, damn, man, from when the turntable shuts down or one of the CDJs stops working and the DJs are having a little panic and they look round and they're like, it's on emergency loop, bruv. You've got to do something. It's like that whole, like, it's that whole aspects of like, you never know what's going to happen and how and when and where, but it's like, okay, shit's hit the fan. Better come up with something. Better do something to keep them all here. Better do something to make sure that, like, they're all cool. Like, you know what I mean? And that can be 30 seconds. It can be 5, 10, 20 minutes. Like, you know,
but that's the shit where you shut. That's the bit that I like anyway. Where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm of service. Let's go.
The spontaneity factor. Yeah. It's nice having everything planned, whatever. But actually, like, the only time you'll really
come alive.
Yeah, and really know all of the testing that you've tested yourself with is when them moments pop up, and boy, it's sink or swim. A man's a swimmer.
Oh shit! I tell you, man, stop it. Yeah, you're right. Explain that feeling. Explain that feeling of being to such an abundance of crowd and being in the moment. That level of zen where there's a connectivity of so many people. Explain that feeling.
Well, first of all, the first feeling is like looking like, you know, I've always got my eye on whoever I'm working with anyway, like one eye on them regardless. So from when I've seen them have some kind of issue, then I'm like, oh, okay, the brain starts ticking in. From when everything's cut down, it's like, right, okay, like this is where now I am really the glue. Like, because like when you're a front man, mic man, whatever, you are the glue between the back setting and the front. Like, and you got to keep that glued. So like in my head, I'm looking around at them. I'm looking for sound engineers. I'm looking for everyone that's going to fix the problem, as well as not knowing what I'm saying, but obviously managing to say something that's keeping all the audience in front, like in line, not necessarily in line, but still keeping them there. Like, you know, and all of that. It's like, it's where like
chaos.
But actually, like, I thrive in chaos. Like, I thrive in the middle of chaos. Like, it's like you get into that zone and places, and it's all subconscious. Like, when you're too conscious and you're trying to overthink it, that's when it all falls apart. Like, from when you can get into that space where you're like, okay, God knows what's going to go on. Don't know how long they're going to be till they fix that. But you know what, man? It's just going to kill some time and dead some things off right now, and make sure everyone's kept like fully engaged. Like, you know, like the amount of different things that are going through my head. Are the audience still there? Have we got a sound man? Have we got the technical staff to sort out what's going on? Have they sorted out what's going on? Are they going to have everything booted up again quick enough? Like, you know, am I utilising the whole of the stage? I need to make sure all the people from back there, from people over there to the front line, to the middle, whatever, am I keeping everyone in? Can I get them to all come in a little bit closer? Like, we're going to have like a little intimate like chat or whatever.
Are you taking notes? Yeah, lists.
But like all of them elements there, like that's what like, you know, let alone like I have no idea what I say. Like this is what makes me laugh. I have people coming up to me that have listened back to sets or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, bruv, when you said this bit," and I'm like, "Bruv, I don't have a clue what you're saying," and they're like, "Nah, like, but you say this here," and I'm like, I make 70% of it up. Because of that whole b-boy aspect and that whole background training that I have had to get me to here, it's like, boy, well, do you know what? Like, pull all the elements away. Can you still stand?
Can you still stand? Which again goes back to the raw elements of what your 10,000 hours are doing, being in a car park, utilising the minimums.
Everything that's brought you up to that moment. Like, because that's what it is. And actually, like, you know, from the flipping biggest stage to a one-on-one, like, them elements should never leave you.
And you love it.
Yeah, because that is the love. And it's like when them spontaneous moments come up, it's like I find more self-gratification in them moments than a lot of stuff. Because it's actually like, good. We're still on track. We're all right. We can still run it. Like, you know
send
what I
this
mean?
one home, boys.
yeah. But that's what it is, isn't it? And it's like, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
So what's the future?
Oh God. Well, you know, we can't predict the future, but the next evolution is a show called This Is Inja. So I've just had an album come out on Hospital Records called Smile and Wave.
Oh, to Hospital Records. That's a bit too casual, just dropping that.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's come out. It's called Smile and Wave, and I basically got to go over to New Zealand and Australia to do a tour over there, like during all the madness as
More
well.
gems,
So man
just
got
drop them
lucky.
out.
Man got lucky. Yeah, I'm very fortunate, but hard work.
Yes.
Like that's what it's about. So flipping ended up over there. Ended up not with the DJ that I wanted to work with due to visa issues or whatever. And they were like, "Oh, so what are you going to do?" I was like, "I'll just do it myself." Like that whole b-boy aspect of, I know what they're doing.
What do you mean more specifically do it yourself? What, DJ?
DJ and sing my songs all at once. So man done it, where I went over there and I'd done like 17 shows with no headphones, like AMC, big up AMC, big up Benny L, Turno, all the gang, like AMC like looked at my memory sticks because he's like a DJ champion, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, you can set them up like this." And I already knew about the cue points and everything, so man like kind of had the sticks half set, and I just basically worked out how to DJ and sing my own songs and keep them mixed and blended for a whole hour. To the point where it's now like, you know, I've got this thing called This Is Inja, which is like a show that I want to like roll out at some point where I just get to go and sing like all my songs. It's mainly the drum and bass ones, but at some point, you know, when I start to go through all of the catalogs, like I work out that I can like actually interact with all of the different catalogs, then it's like it's going to be fun. But it's only ever my songs, so I'm not like trying to be a DJ and play other people's music like the DJs do. I'll only ever sing my songs and play my songs, but got so many of them that like man can fill bare time. And like, so I went out there and I learnt that, but I learnt it with no headphones. So it's just like rags, man singing a song, like queuing up the next thing, no, that's not in time, do whatever to make it in time, bring it back in, still singing the song to the point where my head starts getting confused because I've got one song playing and I'm singing that song, and then I start like getting the next one in, and then I start like, as well as musically blending the songs, I start to blend the words of the two songs, and then that starts getting my head real confused. So I have to like take one of them out and then like, do you know what I mean? But it's like, it's just it's a learning curve, and it's back to everything about evolution and just being able to just be like, do you know what? It's that b-boy factor of and what?
I think
Give it a
the
go.
coldest thing I've ever fucking heard is that you're queuing without any headphones, and you're blending the record whilst blending your own vocal.
Yeah. While blending it gets confusing, bruv. I swear down.
That's like head pat, rub
Yeah,
stomach
and I
shit.
can't even do that. I've never been able to do that, bruv. But also as well, it's like that's all part of the training. So when it got to the point where I was just like, yeah, it's cool, I'll do that. People were looking around at me like, right, you can be able to do that. And it's like, fam, I've been watching all you lot my whole life.
Yeah,
I understand the technique and I understand the formula.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Plus my back's against the wall, motherfuckers, I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I'm going to do it and I'm going to pull it off. To the point where, like, someone turned around to me and was like, it's a bit sketchy what you're doing, isn't it? And I was like, no, it's not sketchy. It's cheeky. And I don't give a damn. And everyone's loving it.
Yeah.
What's sketchy?
Yeah.
Nothing sketchy. Yeah, people are happy and entertained. I'm an entertainer.
A roller coaster's more fun when it's creaking.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can hold on to that seat a little tighter. Like,
and when you finish, you feel like you've done something.
yeah, you do. You're like, I'm lucky to be alive right now.
And I'm gonna go get on the screen.
Yeah, but like that's the whole factor. It's like, you know, it's still down to that whole b-boy factor of I don't give a damn. I'll try it. It's why I've been able to work in all the aspects that I've worked in, because people are like, oh, yo, you're a vibes man. You want to come catch a vibe on this? I'm like, yeah, let's give it a go. If it weren't my thing, it weren't my thing. But like, we always executed it well. And then, you know, you work out what is on what you like in your palette and what you don't. But the next evolution is This Is Inja, because it's like, yeah, it's a thing. Like, yeah, and it worked. And like, I've only had a chance to do it twice since I've been back in the UK. But everywhere I've done it, people have bloody loved it.
Man, I want to see this.
Yeah.
You have to keep us posted.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely,
come on.
happily, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll draw our word up there before, you know, grabbing the camera, grabbing the mic. Man, you are so multi-talented. It's fucking bonkers. But again, just going back to it, it's the 10,000 hours necessity meets tenacity.
Yeah. But then also we are all multi-talented, and like with that aspect of this whole new thing that I'm trying, which is a part of my next evolution, it's like if I'd have not been with all of the DJs and selectors and watching them over time, like, I've always had a little bit of fun when like I'm around someone's yard or whatever and they're like, yeah, go on, jump on, let's have a laugh. And like, you know, like all of that, like, you know, I've never take anything too seriously and just flipping like, go and have some fun.
Be there in spirit.
Be there in spirit. And if something don't work, just be like, and what? Like, you know, you don't need to make no excuses for it. It's just like, you just give it a go. If you're not willing to roll the dice, then don't try and play. Like, you got to roll the dice, fam.
Yeah.
If you want to be involved, you've got to roll the dice.
Sure, off the pot.
You've got to get the ticket.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can't be a part of something if you're not wanting to just dive in. And there's no point in dipping a toe in and out.
You've kept a steady course where that rolling of the dice is concerned, brother. Yeah, you have.
It's because I don't have any fear, because I have that initial, like, b-boy factor of, and what?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, the first guy that put up his tag, it might not have been the best tag, but I'll tell you what, the joy that he got from doing that first one made him go blam up the whole street. Like, you know, and whether everyone else liked it or not, whether it got dubbed over straight away, whatever, like, they got their moment, they enjoyed it, and they're like, do you know what, next time I'm going to come better.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you're right. Create that itch.
Yeah, you got to. You got to, man, because it's like, you know, what else are you going to scratch if you ain't got no itch? It's your balls, and that's just sweaty and boring.
Yeah, monotony.
You know what I'm saying? It's that monotony, bro. But like, and the whole thing is, like, if you want to exist in a realm where you find happiness for yourself regularly, is that you've got to just be able to just let go and just flip and try it. You've got to be able to try it.
Happiness.
Like, a lot of the people that I love the most that are, like, crazy talented, they've never really exposed like how truly talented they are, because there's a part of them that doesn't want them to let certain things off, because it's like, you know, they might not want to be judged or whatever. I don't know what like goes on in their heads, but all I know is like, I know some of the most amazingly creative people, and whether it's through personal fear, self-esteem, they haven't got the right energies or vibes around them at the minute, I'm like, just got to put it out. Like, the only person that should be judging you is you. And if you're happy with it, roll the dice, man.
Yeah, stop looking in your rearview lane, man. Stop looking in your rearview mirror and thinking someone's coming. It's a more culture. You got to, and not be afraid, like you say. Put out there, get it out.
Just go for it. Like because ultimately, what's there to lose? And if you go for it and it don't work, then that don't work.
Yeah.
So, that's all right.
Yeah, it's
How
okay
many
as well.
things? How many times in life you find something that don't work, and it's like, oh well.
Yeah, 100%.
You just got to go for it.
And on that note, Inja,
Yes,
my guy.
Thank you.
Well, wicked way to end. Legendary conversation, I might add. You know what I mean? We've done a lot on the podcast over the years, but that was surely one of the most inspirational for
Thank you.
peace. Thank you so much, Inja.
Happy to, man.
Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, Killer Killer Podcast, out like it was out of fashion. You know what it is, all right? Sharing is caring. Make sure you share away. Without that, we ain't got now, all right? So, don't talk to anyone I wouldn't.
There you go.
So lucky,
Enough love, bruv. Thank you very much for having me, man.
Peace.
Wicked.